Imagine losing millions of dollars worth of livestock in less than an hour. This is a cruel but true thing that can happen for many farmers when natural disasters strike. Farms are completely destroyed. Millions of cattle died when farmers failed to respond promptly to natural disasters. Natural disasters are a constant threat to agriculture livelihoods, causing billions of dollars of losses annually. Cattle farms are especially vulnerable. This is because cattle depend on farmers for food, shelter, and veterinary care. Interrupted care due to natural disasters can lead to widespread animal deaths and economic hardships for farmers. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization, natural disasters cost about $123 billion in lost food production each year. Floods and droughts are the most frequent culprits, accounting for 83% of these losses. Regions such as Asia and Africa bear the brunt of the consequences, with losses exceeding $25 billion for each disaster. Nature poses a serious threat to herds, devastating grazing lands and disrupting food supplies, which can lead to famine. Tornadoes resulting from this storm cause more livestock damage than the storm itself. The winds that accompany tornadoes knock down trees, and this is also one of the causes of cattle dying during the storm. The USDA reported that short-term livestock production losses from the storm were estimated at $30 million, not including infrastructure. Among them, missing livestock accounted for around $8 million. Floods can make pastures unusable, while droughts can cause widespread food shortages. Poor sanitary conditions can cause the spread of disease in cows, causing them to die en masse. Flooding is especially dangerous because the cattle can easily drown if they become trapped or cannot find higher ground. Damaged barns and fences expose cattle to potential danger from predators and risk of injury from debris. We are seeing herds of cattle trapped by floods. They may be swept away. The consequences behind the floods are unpredictable. The cattle that could have died due to the flood were dragged away, and after the water receded, the corpses gradually appeared. Even if the herd survives, they will face a long-term health problem from being submerged in water for days and going without food for long periods of time. When the cattle carcasses were found, farmers did not deal with them immediately. They are trying to rescue the lucky cattle that had survived first. The consequences of natural disasters on livestock go far beyond the initial death toll. Disruptions in agricultural production caused by these events could lead to a domino effect, causing food shortages due to reduced milk and meat production. This affects communities whose needs are dependent on the cattle. Farmers face economic hardship due to animal losses and the burden of repairing damaged infrastructure. These disasters can also pollute water sources through floodwaters and fecal spills, affecting water quality for both humans and animals. Rising floodwaters can quickly flood pastures and barns, trapping and drowning cattle. Rapidly rising waters often leave farmers little time to evacuate their livestock to higher ground. This disrupts the reproductive cycle and increases the risk of disease outbreaks. Research shows that livestock productivity is affected during and after disasters. Because of a combination of factors, including limited access to food and water, illness, and psychological stress. Besides floods, a natural phenomenon that often accompanies storms is thunder. Lightning bolts travel 30,000 times faster than the speeding bullet, causing instant death if they strike. Neither humans nor animals can avoid it. A tragic end for the cattle trying to escape the storm. The lightning struck a tree before hitting the cows, and 19 cattle were killed in that single lightning strike. Most of the cattle would hide under the trees, and they were fine before the storm. But after the storm, they all unfortunately died. The tree they were hiding in had scorch marks, and the trunk was split. Farmers can rely on signs, on carcasses, or in the environment to determine if the cattle died from lightning strikes. Farmers need to watch out for heat waves and droughts. These also pose a significant threat to cattle health and survival. Extreme heat can lead to heat stress, a condition characterized by dehydration, increased respiratory rate, and ultimately death. Studies have shown that heat stress can also negatively impact milk production in dairy cows. On the other hand, drought can cause severe water scarcity, causing cows to become dehydrated and malnourished, due to a lack of enough food to forage. Although data on specific cattle deaths due to a drought is limited, it remains a growing concern for livestock and farmers worldwide. Heat waves and droughts due to climate change are increasing in frequency and intensity. During these times, livestock are the silent victims of natural disasters. Next come wildfires. These can engulf pastures and barns with devastating consequences. Fast-moving fire leaves little time to escape, and cattle trapped in the fires are often seriously injured or die. When the largest wildfire in Texas history tore through the Panhandle in late February, thousands of livestock burned, along with more than 1 million acres of grassland. Fires have rocked America's largest cattle ranching region. Agricultural damage caused the total product value to decrease by $219.8 million. Another catastrophic Texas farm fire killed 8,000 cattle. Although firefighters continued to fight the blaze, the rancher lost everything overnight. The devastating storm caused tornadoes and record snowfall in South Dakota. The cattle were in the pasture when the blizzard hit. They quickly got cold because their winter coats had not yet fully grown in. The cattle were completely exposed to the blinding snow. Some wandered for miles before collapsing and suffocating in the falling snow. Although winter thunderstorms are not new to this area, this blizzard surpassed even the worst predictions. The blizzard brought high winds ranging from 30 to 80 miles per hour and dumped 18 to 24 inches of snow. Livestock farmers are suffering after a record snowstorm. The worst has come, and thousands of cattle have died in the thick snow and bitter cold. The cattle that were lucky enough to not get stuck in the snowstorm still faced many difficulties on the farm. Cold snaps and heavy snow can also affect the health and comfort of pets. Besides this, too much snow affects food transportation. Farmers must regularly push snow to clear access roads and clear animal paths. After a natural disaster, rebuilding a herd can be a lengthy and expensive process. Most facilities will need to be repaired. Besides this, dealing with the number of cattle that died in the disaster is also a huge challenge for farmers and related industries. Farmers can also create a safer future for their cattle and ensure the sustainability of the livestock industry in the face of climate change, preparing food reserves to prevent natural disasters, working closely with government agencies to facilitate faster responses. In an emergency, helping to evacuate livestock to a safe area faster. This minimises losses and improves overall farm resilience. The footsteps are rushing. The unequal chase is taking place across the fields in the Australian wilderness. Right at the moment the cow was exhausted and about to be pounced by dingo, the shot was able to stop it. Fortunately, the worst outcome for the cows did not happen. But the real war has not yet come to an end. The invasion of wild dingo is like a long-lasting pain and even causes many controversies within this country. Don't let you wait any longer. Right now, we will find out how Australian farmers deal with thousands of wild dingo dogs. Dingoes were introduced into Australia about 4,000 years ago. From the moment it appeared, Australians had different approaches. Some locals call them dogs. They see them as part of the ecosystem for millennia, and they have the same right to be here as anyone else. Meanwhile, some farmers see this as a pest and a threat that needs to be eliminated immediately. Dingo populations range from the foothills of the rugged southeastern Alps to remote desert regions. They are opportunistic foragers, sometimes scavengers, and their diet often depends on where they live. They hunt for prey such as sheep, goats, rabbits, and reptiles on Fraser Island. It may be hard to believe, but if the buffaloes have an unsuccessful fight, they are also in the dingo food chain. Dingo doesn't even hesitate to approach giant fish. It is poking at the carcass of a decomposing dolphin on the Queensland coast. This is one of the top predators on the Australian steppe. They have the appearance of a dog and they even look quite harmless. But when hunting, its cunning and aggressive personality is extremely similar to that of wolves. Solitary, some dingoes like to hunt alone, others hunt in groups. Of course, the herd advantage will bring dingoes spectacular victories, prey of greater size or quantity. From an ecological perspective, there is some evidence that dingoes may help control the numbers of introduced predators such as feral cats and foxes. Like all apex predators, they also play an important role in keeping ecosystems in balance. For example, by reducing the impact of feral goats and kangaroos on vegetation, but But unfortunately, dingoes cannot see the invisible boundaries of their natural habitat. This instantly changed their status from a species worthy of conservation to wild dogs with death sentences. The most shocking case was the disappearance of 9-week-old baby girl Azaria Chamberlain in 1980. At that time, prosecutors thought it was too ridiculous for a dog to commit a crime, and they charged the mother. Then after 10 years, the truth was found: their newborn daughter was taken by a dingo. Most recently, Fraser Island also reported on a 6-year-old boy being attacked by a dingo. Currently, dingo attacks on humans are very rare in Australia, and they usually happen to young children. The rescue team successfully saved the newborn baby from the jaws of a dingo. Dingoes often kill animals they have no intention of eating, and often kill more animals than they need for food. That means they don't need to know whether the opponent is in the food chain or not. If they encounter a dingo dog, they will definitely be attacked. Dingo dogs especially like to chase animals that are running away from the group. So whether the dingo is hungry or not, sheep's instinctive escape behavior will trigger the dog's response to chase and attack until the sheep are subdued or too exhausted to defend themselves. According to estimates, damage caused by dingo dogs is about $120 million each year. The sudden increase in the dingo population in Australia poses a significant challenge to researchers, environmental managers, and policymakers. Dingoes were the cause of the country's literal separation. The world's longest fence, 560 km long, runs from western South Saar across the Strzelecki Desert and through southern Queensland to prevent dingoes from entering the relatively fertile southeast of the continent and protecting sheep herds in southern Queensland. Farmers often respond to this threat by killing predators with traps, guns, or fencing them off. However, the method will depend on each person's conditions and dingo behavior in the area. There is a cave of wild dingo dogs about 300 meters from the farm, and farmers regularly see the animals as they drive past the property. These footprints are evidence that they are lurking around the farm. But before the farmers could do anything, their place burned down. The forest fire unintentionally inhibited the development of dingo in the area. It will probably take them some time to find a new habitat. Between the Rocky Mountains and drought-ravaged farms lies a stretch of so-called militarized zones, the front line of the battle between farmers and environmentalists over the survival of dingoes in Australia. Here, ecologists said, "In that area, no dingo dog can live." it will be killed if it goes there. If caught in traps, they moan in terror and pain, and can struggle frantically for 24 hours or more before hunters return to shoot them dead. Dingoes and kangaroos are two of Australia's leading invasive animals. However, they are not on the same front line. A cruel truth: kangaroos are dingoes' favourite food. Wildlife has never been easy for them. Not only is nature harsh, they also have to confront aggressive predators. The paradox is that these kangaroos are larger than dingo dogs, but they still suffer the same fate as other unfortunate prey. In Australia, with the exception of wild dingoes, there are no predators large enough to cause damage to adult kangaroos. Hunters may find marks that indicate a struggle. Both the dingo and its prey often leave deep tracks with splayed toes in the soil, accompanied by broken vegetation. They can rely on it to find the dingo's shelter. Amid this extreme heat, the lake is the only thing that attracts wildlife, including dingo and their food. Life-giving lakes also provide easy hunting opportunities. Prey that is many times larger than its body still does not worry dingo. Continuous attacks and provocations came from dingo. To limit the invasion of dingoes, the Australian government has implemented warning measures to reduce the risk of humans encountering dingoes. In addition, dingo is fitted with a collar that serves as a warning signal. Hunting methods were also thoroughly implemented. The Australian government has allocated $110 million to replace all inadequate and unsafe fencing. These new fence structures are typically constructed from stainless steel or metal mesh with a minimum height of 2 m. These improvements aim to improve the control and durability of the fence while minimizing the risk of dingo intrusion. All measures to deal with this king of the wilderness are aimed at the safety of livestock, helping agriculture develop more smoothly. Australian farmers understand that young dingoes will be born to replace the previous generation. They cannot change the laws of nature, but at least they are trying to create pressure to minimize the threat to the economy and social security. With strong life in the harsh land, dingo becomes a part of Australia's ecosystem. A wild dog with many evil crimes, the culprit responsible for the disappearances of children, or a crazy demon attacks farmers' livestock, becoming feared by native species. What impresses you most about dingo? Please comment below in the comments section to let us know